to Book 101. Book 101 is about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. He is a debut author and the author of the upcoming book, Trap in Deception, other than Mr. Kenneth Webb. Welcome, Mr. Kenneth. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I missed?
Yes, I'm from the United States, but I'm living in Peru. I was born outside Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Grew up in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Texas. And I was a an Army reservist for 33 years. Uh, Mobilized for just under 18 of those. So on active duty for that amount of time. I also retired from American Airlines because reservists have dual careers. And after I retired from the Army and American Airlines, I was a Department of Defense contractor for only 7 months. And I was going to continue contracting, but then I decided to chase my dreams. And some of those dreams are writing my first novel, getting fluent in Spanish, and then I want to work on my doctorate. I'm going to do it online down here in Peru so that I can work on my Spanish. I want to be completely bilingual. And I'm very excited to be working on my first novel. I just got a good compliment on it yesterday. Uh, some editors who worked looking at the first 10,000 pages and interviewed me on a podcast said it was one of the best they'd seen for a debut author, for someone who'd never written a novel before. And it is currently with the formatter and will be ready by the end of this month. It's going to be available on Amazon in December. I'm going to print local copies and sell it at a book fair here. I'm currently working on the audiobook, and I'm going to send it to a sound engineer to, take out background noise and get everything sounding right. So I'm very happy. I don't think I'm going to make money on it. The odds are against me, but I didn't do it for the money. I did it for the pleasure. And I can tell you it was harder than my master's degree.
Yes, indeed. And for your legacy to the world. And thank you so much, Mr. Kenneth, for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. So tell us, Trapping Deception, what is all about?
What's it about? Well, I will tell you everybody in the novel who speaks is based on somebody I know or used to know. And it's uh, loosely based on things in my life. The hero was loosely based on me. He's the same age as me exactly. The book takes place in 2014 and 15, and his birth date is the same birthday as mine, and he has a birthday in the novel. The bad person in the novel is based on someone who was a former friend of mine, and the exact same age. And Eddie Lutt is an Army reservist. He works in intelligence. He's a lieutenant colonel, and uh, this is back in 2014 and 15. And he's also working for the airlines. Again, this is mirroring my life. Uh, and he was in Kosovo, Iraq, and Afghanistan, Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, also. So again, mirroring my life. And he was went to college with this gentleman who was a real con artist, and the person was very successful financially, completely dishonest, and he works for a bank in Dallas, Texas. He robs the bank with a white collar crime. He transfers money to foreign accounts. He steals a cryptocurrency key, fakes his own death, and escapes to Huancayo, Peru, which is an obscure area in Peru where they don't have any Anglos like me. It's pretty much just Peruvians. I've been to it. I checked it out and did research there. The bank was gambling illegally with the money that was stolen, so they are not going to report it because they don't want the authorities to unravel what's really been going on. So they're waiting to report it. Meanwhile, the bad guy, whose name is Sean, can't crack the code for the crypto. So he contacts his former quote unquote friend to help him with it and offers him a very large sum of money. And the friend doesn't want to do it, but uh, the bank had hired a uh, contracting agency to locate Sean, who's down and find out what really happened. Is he dead? What's going on? And it turns out they find out that Sean reached out to Eddie, so they are going to hire Eddie to go ahead and accept Sean's offer, go down there, recover the crypto key, and then they're going to capture Sean and they're going to make him tell them where he wired the money to so they can retrieve it. So, uh, and there's some twist in it. You see some duality between Sean and Eddie. They're both fake in their own way. Eddie isn't evil like Sean, but he has been given credit for something that he really didn't do. He screwed up, and it came out as if he did something well, but he didn't. He messed up, and he realizes that, and other people kind of realize it who are in the know. But in the end, it's a catharsis where he comes around full circle and becomes a better person. And it was a cathartic journey for me. It was therapy. I couldn't not write it because it felt like getting it out, getting my emotions out, because I'd been deceived by this person. This is a person whose existence, I know he's a real person. He's not a murderer, but his existence is based on deceiving other people. So that is the book in a nutshell.
Interesting indeed, Mr. Kenneth. And Trap in Deception is such a powerful title, where this central idea of being trapped by lies rather than just telling them first come from. What inspired you by a real world event or personal observation? Is it
Well,
purely
what
fictional?
inspired me was the person himself. He lied to me. I was the best man at his wedding. Uh, he told me, like just among other things, he got. I went to a lot of trouble for him. Bought him expensive gifts, and he told me, hey, I got you a best man's gift, but it's under all these other gifts. We'll send it to you in about 2 or 3 weeks. And then about 2.5 years later, I started asking about it. He hadn't done anything. He had gotten me into a lot of trouble when we were in college together, kind of a very bad influence. I called him multiple times, you know, not being forthright and honest with me. He was always able to talk his way out of it. And it wasn't just me, there were other people. He admitted to me he got married. I said I was the best man at his wedding. One of the things that attracted him to his wife was that uh, she made more money than he did, and they weren't married very long at all before he started talking about he might need to divorce her because so that she could be happier. It was actually very selfishly motivated. They did separate in less than a year after they were married. Now they are divorced. He ran his own business. He ran several businesses. He was a school teacher. He stopped working for about 3 years, and he was just kind of living with different women. And I told him, look, you need to get a job. So I was trying to help him out. I did help him out, and in return, he just used me more. So now he's in real estate. He's doing well. I basically just had to cut him off. So it was just, to just see if you've ever known anybody that can look you right in the eye and just lie to you. I'm just not used to that. And somebody who takes no responsibility for their own actions. So that it's just showing, trying to me, it's just bringing into the light the way these people are when they behave that way, and how damaging it is.
Mr. Kenneth, what was the key emotion or psychological state you wanted to explore in this book?
The key emotion, I'm not sure if it's an emotion, betrayal, but that's not really an emotion. I would have to say anxiety, because when somebody gaslights you, and gaslighting is based on an old movie where, oh, no, that didn't happen. They didn't know the lights didn't go down. It causes you anxiety. That's the main emotion. That is what he's causing other people by keeping them constantly honest. Someone who is a manipulator doesn't want people to feel comfortable. He wants to keep them constantly at ill at ease.
Mr. Kenneth, while it sounds like a thriller, what is the deeper human question at the heart of this story? Is it about identity, the mask of we all wear, or a price of maintaining a facade?
You had it right the first time. It's about identity. It's about being true to yourself. Eddie is a good person in his heart. He knows that, uh, basically what it is. I can tell you in the novel, he made an outstanding shot with his pistol in Afghanistan, and he killed a bad guy. However, he didn't really make that shot as far as legitimately. He had a misfire with his pistol. He was running, he had it on fire. Some rounds were shot near him, and he made a ridiculously good shot. And so he got a medal for it. But what really happens when that happens and you misfire, they actually give you a reprimand. But in his case, they thought he just made an excellent shot. So it is, being true to yourself, discovering yourself, becoming the best version of yourself that you can be.
Without giving any away or giving away spoilers, can you describe the architecture of the deception? Is it a single devastating lie or complex web of smaller falsehoods that eventually and shares the protagonist?
It's the second. It's Sean is a very complicated individual. He's the bad guy. He's not. He's evil, but then at the same time, he doesn't see himself as evil. So he's extremely dangerous, because if you don't think you're doing anything wrong, then you can't be made to feel guilty. You have to think it's wrong in order to be made to feel guilty. And he is a person. He says, oh, I didn't say that. The next day afterwards, he'll just completely deny it. And once again, this is somebody I really know who's like this, who I've had to cut off all contact with.
In any great story about deception, there is a moment where a character could have come clean but does not. Can you set the stage for a pivotal moment in your book where the protagonist makes this fateful choice to dig the hole deeper?
Where he makes a choice to dig the hole deeper. So the bad guy, when digging it deeper, he is basically, I would describe it as he hits rock bottom and he commences to digging. I mean, he's just constantly digging it deeper. He pulls off this heist, and you know, what does he do? He says, "No, I don't need any more money." But he's not satisfied. He gets down to Peru and he's planning his next heist.
Hmm.
So it's now, as far as Eddie, is there a pivotal moment? There is a pivotal moment. It's not till close to the end, and he has an opportunity to do what he really wants to do for revenge, and instead he chooses the higher ground. And that the pivotal moment is more with Eddie, because there he is. he is a good person at heart, whereas the other person just I'm not sure if I would call him evil because it's. I mean, he just doesn't. I mean, is a snake evil because it bites you? I mean, it's just what it does. So it's no someone with no conscience or just oblivious.
Deception is rarely a victimless crime. Who is the most unexpected collateral damage in this story, and how does this suffering impact the main character?
The most collateral damage. I would have to say the most collateral damage because I'm thinking about like the an innocent person in the novel, and I mean the person who's really damaged is Eddie was damaged in the novel, but I'm not sure he's the worst victim of Sean. I would have to say it was Sean's wife, former wife, because he just used her and just tossed her aside like a tissue, and she was an innocent. So I would have to say the wife, Sean's wife, but she's only briefly mentioned in the novel.
Mr. Kenneth, as a debut author, what are your short term and long term goals?
What are my short and long term goals?
Please, yes.
Well, the short term goals, sir, really are to get this novel published, and it's gonna be set for me to be put on Amazon in soft cover, hardcover, and ebook, and I'm getting it set up now. I mean, as in this interview, the person who is doing uh, the audio, engineer sent me a message. He's getting ready to get started on it, so I'm going to have an audio book. So that's my short term goal. The long term goal, I'm setting this novel up, and there are hints in there that for follow up novels, and this could be a series of 3 novels or 5 novels. And you have to really pay attention to the novel, but it's definitely in there. So the long term goal, as far as writing, I want to continue this series. And I put a lot of money and a lot of effort into this because it's my first time. And I'm not used to writing fiction. I was used to writing for my master's thesis, which was fact, and that was only 53 pages. This is a novel of 43,000 words. It's going to come out to around 200 pages. So, that's the short term. The long term is the furtherance of writing on the follow on novels, and then of course I want to get my doctorate, and I'm imagining the doctorate's going to be a even bigger hurdle than the book. And then I'm going to follow on. I want to go back into the workforce. I retired from the Army and from American Airlines. I want to go back. I'll either be an editor myself or uh, continue to write. I probably will continue to write regardless or open up a bed and breakfast.
Good luck to your goals, Mr. Kenneth, and looking forward for more success. And what would be your piece of advice for those people out there who want to be like you?
What would be my piece of advice? Okay, I'm 56 years old. I I've been retired for 3 years, and I didn't intend to retire. I mean, I was contracting, and then I needed to go home and help my mother with my stepfather. He had dementia, and then I came to Peru to study Spanish. And when the next contracting job came up, I turned it down, and I decided, you need to chase your own dreams, your own goals. If you're financially able to do it, I would say, as long as you're able to financially and you don't get yourself in a bind, and I'm getting a pension now, so I'm able to do it. Instead of focusing on money, do what you want to do. Because if you look at studies of people when they get older, they normally don't regret the things that they did as much as the things that they did not do. So if your goal is to go and get your doctorate, And I don't even know what I'm going to do with my doctorate. That's a goal. Or if your goal is to hike Mount Everest or whatever, I say go for it. You're not going to regret it. I don't think I'll get the money back I spent on this book, but I don't think I will ever regret it.
Well, thank you for that advice, Mr. Kenneth. And can you please recommend a book or books that influence your journey?
A book I recommend. Well, I mean, for life to life goals, daily guidance, I do recommend the Bible. As far as literature, I mean, I am a heavy reader, but I do read mostly fiction. And my favorite all time author is John Le Carre. And he wrote a book, and he was a former spy. He was a spy for the British. So he definitely knows how to write spy thrillers because he lived it. And he wrote a novel. Maybe his most famous was made into a movie called The Spy Who Came In from the Cold. But my favorite novel was Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. And the original novel, the main character, Smiley, was played by Alec Guinness. And then they made a remake with Gary Oldman. And I'd say both movies were equally as good. Normally, the remake to me isn't as good, but in this case, I think Gary Oldman did an excellent job. And I would recommend the novel. I read it over and over again. I have it on Audible and I listen to it over and over again. Just looking at the intricacies, the way he unfolds the characters. This isn't a shoot 'em up novel. It's more the drama, the psychological uh, pull between characters. And I even modeled something after him uh, when I did my audiobook. Also it's in my written book, but I have a quote in there. You know, the worst lies are the lies we tell ourselves. Richard Bach, and he that's something he does like at every one of his audiobooks. I've heard him say a quote, so I just thought that's a neat idea, so I did that. So as kind of like a tribute to following the way he did it. So I highly recommend his novels. I have other favorite authors. You know, I love Jack Higgins, W.B. Griffin, Frederick Forsyth, but I think John Le Carre is the best.
Thank you so much for that recommended books, Mr. Kenneth. And before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people, my other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season. Abstract Poetry in second season, and my book 101 review in fifth season too. Comedy 101 in second season, and my food 101 in fifth season as well. Geography 101 in fourth season, and my baby podcast Law 101 and Mental Health 101, Love Letters in third season, and Movie 101 Review and Music 101 in fourth season, and Science 101 and Sex 101 in each first season. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Mr. Kenneth, if you had to summarize the core message of Trap in Deception in a single sentence, what would it be?
Be true to yourself and don't make compromises.
Be true to yourself, people. And Mr. Kenneth Webb, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. So, can you please invite our listeners to support your upcoming book, Trap in Deception?
Okay.
So, please do invite them, Mr. Kenneth. Where do you gonna buy their book or where will be published?
Oh, okay. Advise them. I'm sorry. I need to speak up. I have a website, and I was born in 1969, so it's Ken Webb with two B's, KenWebb, web69.com is my website, and everything will be posted on there. But my book will be on Amazon in December. The book will be completed sometime in October, but then I'm going to advertise it and promote it. And the ebook will be available for pre-purchase probably in November. But I want all of them to release December. I'm shooting for 1 December if I can get it out that early.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. Kenneth Webb. because if you support him, for sure, more and more empowering books like this to come. So, Mr. Kenneth, thank you so much for your time.
All right. Thank you.
More to come, people. See you soon.